It's simple to see, it's Ed Magic TV, so the world can believe it's Ed Magic TV.
What's going on? I'm Marcus Flye. We're right here with more Ed Magic TV backstage here at the House of Blues. And I tell you what, we've got an amazing group here with us. Check out who they are. This is Kicking Wet Possums.
I'm Wally Valdez, the drummer.
Yeah, Brian McNally, play guitar.
Josh Gonzales, I play bass.
How'd you guys all get together and meet each other and create this band?
We basically met on a recording session through Craigslist, and you know, some girl said, "Hey, I need a band. I'm going to go on tour, go on the road. I need to record a record." And so, you know, we just kind of met, and we did the record tour. You know, we rehearsed for like a month, 3 times a week, and nothing ever came of it. And we're still in touch with her. She's cool. She calls us for gigs here and there, and then, you know, when nothing happened, we just said, you know what, let's get together and let's play some music that basically, most of the time as musicians, we don't get to play. We get hired to do different gigs, and if you want to go on tour, hey, this is my music. If you want to do it, it's much it pays a week or whatever, and so we choose to accept it or not, whatever, and we do the gig. But this kind of gig, we kind of came up with it because we said, you know what, I'd like to do a fun gig and play whatever music that we like to play, and whatever happens, happens, and if we're successful to a certain extent, cool. And if not, we'll make some cool music and meet some cool people. So that's kind of how it came about.
I want to know 2 things. One, how did, in fact, did you guys meet that way? And then where in the world did you all come up with the name for your group?
We auditioned and we all got the gig, but like he said, it didn't go nowhere. It was one of those, you know, promises never went through, and we just decided to play real music, you know, music that isn't played in the House of Blues and in the mainstream anymore. It's all instrumental. It's back to where music came from, you know, from 1930s stuff. You sit down and you jam for 10 minutes on a song and you express yourself fully as a musician. So it's a musician's type of music to listen to. If you have that frame of mind as a musician, or even if you just really like music and like to listen to people express themselves through music without having any vocals, which is really hard to keep an audience captive. You know, you're beating on your guitar and hopefully they stick around. Basically what it is. But we're good at what we do, you know what I mean? And we played for many years already, you know, and we're just on the track, just doing it, you know, staying in the circuit, staying alive and trying to make some money. And that's hard in itself to live and make some money off of this. So, especially with trying to play mainstream gigs like this and playing instrumental music. But we seem to be doing it somehow, one way or another, and we're here and we're here at the House of Blues and we're playing it. So we're doing something right, you know. So we're gonna keep doing it as long as we can.
Give me some history really quickly on some people you guys have played with or played for.
I actually moved from Texas in 07 and played with some pop rock guys in town. And, you know, I come from a Hispanic background. And I grew up doing Mother Day serenades with my father. And I used to play an instrument called a bajo sexto, which is a 12-string, like a guitar and a bass combined. Wow. And so I kind of grew up doing that. And I played with some, like, Hispanic groups. Some were not too famous. Some guys went famous and became millionaires, but I got to experience a lot of that. And I've played with, you know, this group called the Cumbia Kings, the Super Reyes. I've played with like audition with Ozo Motley and a bunch of you know, a few actresses, and you know, it's just why we're in LA, really, to meet those kinds of people. Right. You know, I know Josh has played, you know, done a bunch of gigs with, I mean, Mary J. Blige. He did a gig with her the other day. And, you know, Brian's been all over the world, man. Brian's been in Indonesia. I mean, he's got a great background to kind of pull from as far as music is concerned, and just how other people view American music and things that he can pull from his background to kind of put into the tunes that we do. We do kind of we do some other weird tunes like in different odd meters, some Arabic stuff, some Greek, a couple of Greek tunes, and he's like, well, I've got this really like a hint.
A lot of ethnic, stuff that we can mix in. Just whatever we kind of have in our arsenal, we like to, which we, you never get to, like, as a musician, you sit in your bedroom and you learn all this stuff and you're full of all this information, and it's hard to incorporate it in your playing and actually, perform it. You never get a chance. And so we just have a lot of tunes where after playing in the studio for hours and hours and hours for months and months, you start incorporating these things that you've always wanted to try out and stuff. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, so we started playing a lot of incorporating a lot of ethnic stuff in there. I lived in Southeast Asia for about 10 years. Lived in Japan as a kid growing up. Lived in Europe for a while, Russia for like a year. My dad plays, my older brothers play. So yeah, a lot of stuff that unless you play in a band like this, like you're never gonna get to do it. So the freedom is really what we love.
So because of this group, we get to pretty much beat ourselves up. Really, is what we're doing. Yeah. And so when we go do a pop gig, somebody says, hey, you want to come do my gig? Sure. They give you some sheet music or whatever, and you go and you play and have a great time, and I know collectively we've played to thousands of people. I do norteño gigs where it's like 15,000 people in cowboy hats and ostrich boots.
Yeah.
And you're playing accordion music and people are just looking at you and they're dancing and having a great time, and it's like cool. You get to travel and
awesome.
And
so this is amazing. So you guys are living the life, right? You're doing what the artists do. Yeah. So now let's go back to the fun stuff, because we didn't forget. Where in the world did you all get the name for your group? I got to hear the story. Who's got it?
As musicians, we take ourselves seriously. But as people, man, it's like we're just three guys that want to play. And one day, that was my disclaimer. So right off the bat. One day I got invited to a barbecue by some friends, and this friend of mine said, hey, I want everybody to come over. I'm going to buy steaks. Can you barbecue for us? Can you cook them? I'm like, sure. So I get there, and I end up being the only guy, and there's like 6 girls. So they're inside, drinking wine, and I'm stuck outside by myself, cooking. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I'm cooking the steaks, and it starts getting dark, and it starts to rain. And this girl's place was by an open field, and across the street there was another field, and it started pouring, so I kind of moved the barbecue pit into the carport, and I'm just hanging there, cooking and drinking a beer, and I look across the street and I see the grass move like this, and I was like, wow, man, I'm tripping, what's going on? Like, and all of a sudden I see this possum come out of the grass, and it's crossing the street towards me, and I'm like, I'm just sitting there, hanging out, I'm like, I wonder what it would sound like if I kicked it, man. And would it make a thud? Would it make a yelp? Or would it say something or do something? Or, And so I'm like, all right, I'm tripping, man. Everything's cooked. I cooked everything. I went inside and I told the girls about it. And they're like, first of all, you're out of your mind to be kicking a possum in the middle of the night, And even think of that. I'm like, well, I would never do that. But can you imagine, kicking a wet possum? And one girl goes, that would be a great name for a band.
You gotta find that girl, man. You gotta find that girl.
And so I was like, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'll credit you one day, And she, we were going anywhere, and she was like, all right, yeah, sure, whatever.
I want to find that.
So then we invited the girls out to a gig. We're like, this is the name of the band. She's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. And the guys are kind of like, kicking wet possums, dude. That's kind of weird, man. And
well, we didn't know. Right? We were just still in the embryonic stages of the group, so it's like, oh, sure, I'll be, call us whatever you want, man.
Everything's forgiven. Yeah. Now the deeper you get to the relationship, you really think about, was that something really?
And people don't ask twice. Just like right now, what's it called? Kicking wet possums. And
they don't forget it though.
And they don't forget it.
Right.
It's like one of those things, like, Stone Temple Pilots. What's that? Who's that? I don't know, but they know who it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of, one of those things. It's kind of a gag kind of thing. Like, we want to do good music, but, we come out and it's a fun gig. It's a fun gig. And
the one thing I could tell you, it's expensive to print.
Yeah.
I could have print the t-shirts. Once I got the t-shirts and the Kicking Wet Possums, that's going to cost you such and such. I'm like, dude, really? How about if we just put KWP?
Yeah, let's do that for now.
Wow, yeah.
Okay, so you guys are calling it KWP. I cannot wait for the music videos from these guys to see what this is going to look like. Kicking Wet Possums, they're amazing. Stay on the lookout. Do you have a website?
Yes, we do. MySpace / Kicking Wet Possums. KICKINGWETPOSSUMS. We're on Facebook. And, look online and you'll see where we play next and come out and hang and say hi to the guys and we'll have a few drinks and a few laughs.
All right. They're amazing. They're a whole lot of fun. You don't want to miss them. Kicking Wet Possums. But they're playing right here tonight, right here at the House of Blues.